Medical Council to deliver ruling in decade-long pediatric case. Latest footage shows snippets of astronaut Lai Ka-ying's life in space. And protesters take to the streets in Tel Aviv as conflict with Lebanon continues. Good evening. Welcome to TVB News. The closing submission of a disciplinary hearing for a pediatrician who is alleged of a medical blunder that left a male infant permanently disabled is delivered at the Medical Council. The council will hand down the ruling on July the 5th. Mimosa reports.
The disciplinary hearing resumes at the Medical Council. Pediatrician Sid Saudi arrives for the hearing. Complainants and the infant's parents, Mr. and Mrs. Lai, are also present. The suspected medical blunder happened in 2009, when Mrs. Lai gave birth at the Baptist Hospital and suffered from a high fever. Lai's son also developed a high fever and seizure after he was born and was sent to the hospital for treatment. In the end, the infant became permanently disabled with cerebral palsy and quadriplegia. The parents filed a complaint to the Medical Council in 2010, claiming Sid had failed to act on warnings about the infant's condition. In his closing submission, the Medical Council's barrister mentions the statement of a Baptist hospital's nurse who recalled the incident. The nurse says they phoned Sid in the early hours to inform him the baby had a seizure and choked on milk. The nurse asked the doctor to return to the hospital promptly to check on the infant, but Sid ignored the situation as he continued to sleep at home, even though his home was only 15 minutes away from the hospital. The council says such behavior is misconduct because Sid ignored his profession's duty. The barrister also points out contradictions between Sid's and the nurse's statements. He said the council should accept the nurse's statement because it matches the record of the medical system, whereas the council describes Sid as an opportunist. Meanwhile, Sid's defense says the case should focus on whether or not the doctor conducted timely and necessary inspections rather than if he misdiagnosed. The defense says Sid followed up on the baby's condition based on the nurse reports, including suspending the infant's milk feeding once. While the hearing was first scheduled to take place in July 2016, but it was delayed several times. It was only until November last year when the council announced the hearing's reopening. Mimosa 9, TVB News.
The Hong Kong Trade Development Council says Central Asia's stability is useful in promoting Hong Kong's economy. Frederick Ma's comment comes after his trip to the region with the chief executive this month. Mimosa reports.
The chief executive-led delegation returns from Central Asia after signing close to 100 of agreements and memoranda of understanding. Speaking on a TVB program, Frederick Ma, the Hong Kong Trade Development Council's chairman, says the trip is a huge success. Ma says Astronaut International Financial Center shares similarities with Hong Kong because they also adopt a common law jurisdiction. Amid the existing geopolitical tensions, Ma says stability is one of the features of Central Asia and points out a large sum of Middle Eastern funding have gone to Uzbekistan since the start of the war in the region. He also says President Xi Jinping has visited Kazakhstan 6 times, which highlights the region's stability. While some comments think Central Asia has fewer attractiveness compared to the Middle East and ASEAN, the chairman says each region is unique, adding he may upgrade the TDC's consultant office in Kazakhstan. He says that will allow the office to handle more formal work with the local authorities and businesses. Mimosa 9, TVB News.
The Shenzhou 23 crew releases the latest footage of their space mission, including the work environment of Hong Kong's first astronaut, Lai Ka-ying, under zero-gravity condition. Timothy Lee has more.
In the latest video released by the Shenzhou 23 crew, the city's first woman in space is seen handling a device with fellow crew members Zhu Yangzhu and Zhang Zhiyuan on the spacecraft. Showing her trademark smile, Lai Ka-ying enjoys a space meal as the trio continues to embark on various tasks on their mission. Besides her standard uniform, Lai later switches into a more casual pink jacket and shorts for work, as crewmate Zhang Zhiyuan drifts nearby. Having boarded the Tiangong space station for around 2 weeks, the China Manned Space Program releases footage of the Shenzhou 23 crew meeting with their predecessors from the Shenzhou 21 mission. The 6 astronauts are united in conducting their spacebound tasks as they live together on the space station during the transitional period. Void of gravity, Lai maintains her positivity as she is seen floating around the craft, needing to grab hold of parts of the space station's interior in order to maintain her balance. The CMS notes the 3 crew members of Shenzhou 23 remain in good condition and have already adjusted to the zero-gravity condition in space. This as the trio will conduct more than 100 scientific experiments during their time in the space station. Timothy Lee, TVB News.
The Lebanese President Joseph Aoun strongly condemns an Israeli attack on the Lebanese army patrol that killed 2 officers and 1 soldier. An Israeli airstrike also killed 9 people in southern Lebanon Saturday. This as 1,000 protesters take to the streets for the weekly anti-government rally in Tel Aviv Saturday, with speakers denouncing Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Tracy Furness reports.
The Lebanese village of Saksakia. 2 houses damaged after an Israeli strike. Civil defense crews extinguishing the fire. A wounded man is taken to an ambulance. This Saksakia village resident says, "We heard about the strike, so we came and found the martyrs lying on the ground. There are no weapons, no missiles, nothing at all. It was a civilian home. This attack was carried out by a brutal enemy." A separate airstrike hit another neighborhood in the village, damaging an additional house. A Lebanese army spokesperson said in a statement, Israel's attack aimed to thwart all efforts to reach a solution that would restore stability, establish a comprehensive ceasefire, and lead to the Israeli withdrawal from the occupied Lebanese territories. Meanwhile, around 1,000 protesters came out for the weekly anti-government rally at Tel Aviv's Habima Square Saturday. Waving placards, one reading "Our Boys' Lives Matter" and this one of US President Donald Trump, "How I Made Iran Great Again." Demonstrators cheer along to speakers who denounce Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's government and demand a state commission of inquiry into the events of October 7, 2023.
7th of October, on that horrid day, the whole government, 68 people, if each and every one of them are criminals, each and every one of them, aside from the fact that 7th of October occurred because of their treason and support of Hamas, they should have gone home. And instead of that, they very proudly continue. We are in war straight through 3.5 years. This has to stop.
Tracy Furness, TVB News.
A massive coastal resort project on Albania's southern coast linked to Ivanka Trump, daughter of US President Donald Trump, and husband Jared Kushner, is drawing criticism from environmental campaigners and sparking waves of protests. This as swaths of protected coastal landscape are earmarked for development. In one of the biggest rallies so far, thousands took to the streets in the Albanian capital Saturday evening to rail against the planned resort spanning the abandoned island of Sazan and a nearby stretch of seafront in Nata Lagoon, which is a wildlife reserve. Earlier in the day, Albanian-Australian swimmer Eva Buzo swam 15 kilometers around the island before she joined the protesters in Zvernek, some brandishing inflatable flamingos and chanting "Nata is ours." The focus of the anger is on the potential threat that plans for the multi-million-dollar development could pose to flamingos as well as other protected species in the wetlands area. Protesters are also concerned about what they see as a lack of transparency and unresolved land issue, while Albanian Prime Minister Edi Rama says the venture will bring jobs and investment. The government says the project would be transformational for the Balkan country as it seeks to enter the high-end tourism market and pursues European Union membership. And still ahead, hundreds of thousands attend vigil in Spain as the Pope kicks off his week-long tour. US Defense Secretary warns of dangerous ideology emerging in Europe during D-Day memorial. And Uzbekistan's light industry sector grows as Chinese investors expand operations in the region. Welcome back. Government data from the Democratic Republic of the Congo indicates the country's number of confirmed Ebola cases totaled 488 as of Saturday, including 86 deaths. The African Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and the World Health Organization jointly roll out a contingent response plan that aims to raise $518 million to strengthen rapid detection and prevent the virus spread to countries bordering the DRC. The United Nations humanitarians at the epicenter of the latest outbreak warned of increased deadly attacks that threaten health workers' Ebola response. The Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs says the violence in eastern DRC has eroded community trust and compelled organizations to restrict movements in several areas. An armed attack in North Kivu's Beni territory on Tuesday claimed the lives of at least 24 civilians, while Wednesday's heavy clashes in Masisi territory caused new displacement, compounding the ongoing humanitarian crisis. Despite the challenges, OCHA says life-saving assistance will continue whenever possible and calls on all parties to respect international humanitarian law and provide unimpeded and sustained access. Congolese authorities, meanwhile, are imposing enhanced restriction measures to contain the virus transmission, as the current outbreak is suspected to have infected over 1,000 individuals. A bride in Bunia says they invited 300 people to her wedding, but authorities only allowed 50 people to enter. Certain traditional wedding activities have been cancelled during social gatherings, including kissing and touching, and guests are keeping greetings to a minimum to avoid infection. And the church has suspended confirmation, baptism, ordinations, among other activities until further notice. Elsewhere in Africa, the WHO handed over medical supplies valued at $22,000 to Zambia to help the country strengthen preparedness and response to Ebola raging in the DRC and neighboring Uganda. The donation included personal protective gear, specimen transportation materials, and a mobile laboratory. Zambian officials thanked the WHO and said it is a testament to the enduring partnership with the UN Health Agency, vowing the donated supplies will be used transparently and efficiently to ensure that frontline health workers are protected. Pope Leo XIV arrives in Spain for a week-long visit. Leo is keen to highlight the long tradition of Catholic devotion in the country and to encourage especially the young generations to find their faith. Tracy Furness has more.
Cheering crowds line the streets of Madrid as Pope Leo XIV waves to them from the Popemobile. The Pope then enters a garden area to greet a group of people, some of whom are disabled and looked after by a Catholic organisation. Thousands attended a youth vigil later Saturday. Pope Leo invites Spaniards to choose examples of a good life as he addresses huge crowds at a moment of political turmoil for the socialist-led government and a credibility crisis for the Catholic Church. The American pontiff travelled to Spain dozens of times as a priest, but this is the first visit here by a pope in 15 years. In the Plaza de Lima, central Madrid, hundreds of thousands of young people gather for a rocking, dancing, prayer-filled event with Pope Leo at the end of his first day in Spain. An estimated 500,000 people, many of them young, gave the Pope a rock star welcome, cheering, "This is the youth of the Pope." Leo's visit signals a return of papal attention to Europe's Christian roots after Pope Francis largely stayed away from the traditional centres of Christianity in favour of smaller Catholic communities farther away. Church leaders and some experts see the success of youth movements and the surge of adult baptism as signs that some young people are showing new interest in the church, while also challenging it to embrace a more inclusive message. Tracy Furness, TVB News.
The international ceremony of the 82nd anniversary of the Normandy beach landing, known as D-Day, sees world leaders gather in France's Lagunes-sur-Mer. In Sainte-Mère-Église, U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth speaks with soldiers, cautioning the emergence of dangerous ideologies in Europe. Gloria Fung has the story.
U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth addresses soldiers at the U.S. Sainte-Mère-Église military facility, where he links immigration by sea to the wartime liberation of Europe, warning the freedom won by Allied troops could prove temporary if leaders fail to defend it.
Sadly, today, Different European beaches are stormed by different dangerous ideologies. Beaches in Spain, in Italy, in Greece, and Bulgaria, boats and men arrive. When will European capitals do something about that invasion? Or is it too late? I pray not, and I believe not. The men who fought and died here restored freedom to Europe. That freedom must be maintained by this generation of leaders and warfighters, or what they fought for was merely temporary.
Also in Normandy, French Prime Minister Sébastien Lecornu and U.S. Undersecretary of Defense for Policy Elbridge Colby attend the international ceremony of the 82nd anniversary of the Normandy beach landing. Amid a backdrop of billowing flags of allied nations, Lecornu calls for remembrance of those who sacrificed to liberate France and Europe, while iterating the great challenges still ahead in order to seal the freedom brought to Europe by the Allies. Colby says the NATO alliance must draw strength from the legacy of Normandy by rebuilding military readiness and maintaining strong partnerships to prevent future global conflict.
Our purpose now must be to take our resolve from the legacy of Normandy, to look at our challenges realistically and seriously, to build our military strength individually and together, and to restore our home fronts that can, once again in General Eisenhower's words, supply overwhelming superiority in weapons and munitions. If we all do our part in this, then we can hope with confidence that we will achieve the noble purpose that he set for his forces that grave day: security for ourselves in a free world. Thank you very much.
Gloria Fung, TVB News.
Polls open in Armenia for parliamentary elections as the incumbent government of Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan seeks closer relations with the European Union and the US. Against him in the polls include opposition parties that take a pro-Russian stance. Pashinyan and his ruling Civil Contract Party are looking for a strong mandate for a new geopolitical cause. Some of their opponents, including the opposition Strong Armenia Party, are vocally pro-Russian. Investigators issued 6 arrest warrants for members of Strong Armenia, accusing them of buying votes a day ahead of the election. The Strong Armenia Party did manage to run in Sunday's election. In recent weeks, Russian officials have hit Armenian exports with a barrage of restrictions, while high-ranking officials, including President Vladimir Putin, have made thinly veiled threats comparing Armenia's path to that already taken by Ukraine. Members of Britain's royal family gather in the village in the Cotswolds for the wedding of Princess Anne's son, Peter Phillips, to Harriet Spurling. More than 100 guests were invited to see the couple tie the knot Saturday. Princess Beatrice with husband Eduardo Mapelli-Mosey and Princess Eugenie with husband Jack Brooksbank are seen arriving to the church for this private ceremony. Next, the Prince and Princess of Wales and King Charles seen waving to onlookers, and Queen Camilla. The wedding took place in the village of Kemble in Gloucestershire. The bride, who is a nurse, has been dating Philip since 2024. Phillips, who is 48, is the son of Princess Anne and her first husband, Captain Mark Phillips. It is Peter Phillips' second trip down the aisle. He split from his first wife, Autumn Kelly, in 2019, and their divorce finalized in 2021. They have 2 children. He is the late Queen Elizabeth II's eldest grandson and Prince William and Harry's first cousin. Financial Secretary Paul Chan announces the establishment of the Committee on AI Plus and Industry Development Strategy, which will convene its first meeting this month. The committee will discuss and conduct research on the application of AI in various fields. Noting in his latest blog, the finance chief cites the upcoming opening of a mainland company's first fully robot-run retail business in Hong Kong, highlights the speed of AI development in the city. He stresses the committee's goal is to take a more in-depth look into the application of AI in the everyday lives of local residents, such as its application in the transport and cultural sectors. Authorities have also earmarked $50 million for the AI Training for All initiative, which includes courses and seminars organized by Cyberport, Science Park, as well as the Productivity Council. With the recent rise of Chinese industries in Uzbekistan, Timothy Lee takes a look at their contribution to the Central Asian nation's growing light industry sector.
Originating from the mainland, this factory, dedicated to manufacturing doors and windows, began operations in Uzbekistan at the start of this year. Among its staff are 5 mainlanders and around 10 local employees. Mr. Yue, the manager of the factory, says Uzbekistan has been developing rapidly in recent times and senses a positive future for its infrastructure and construction industries. He adds there has been a growing demand for mansions both among the common people and the wealthy. Located in an industrial park some 45 minutes away from the capital of Tashkent, the park stands around 200,000 square feet in size, housing at least 60 factories specializing in steel and construction material production. Chen Yitian, the manager of the industrial park, believes the facility's relatively close distance with Tashkent allows for ease of sales to the wider Uzbek market while remaining economically efficient. As of now, more than 5,500 Chinese industries have set up in Uzbekistan, having grown by over 2,000 from 2 years ago. But it's not just mainland businesses that have made use of the new economic opportunities in the Central Asian country. An investment company from Hong Kong sets up a base in the Uzbek capital in a bid to assist mainland industries better connect with the local government. The company president notes Hong Kong maintains the advantage of being an international investment hub that attracts mainland businesses to utilize and expand their operations abroad. He also believes Chief Executive John Lee's visit in Uzbekistan played a pivotal role in increasing confidence and investment in the region. Timothy Lee, TVB News.
And that's the news. Thank you for watching.